Hey guys, so here's my Chris Craft. It's a 258 concept. It stands for 25 foot, 8 cylinder. So it's got a Chevy 454 big block in it. It's rated at right around 330 horsepower. It's all stock, all factory motor stuff. It's got the OMC King Cobra drive, and then they call this one the Daddy King because it's got cone clutches. So it's pretty similar to the Volvo cone clutch, and if I forget the year, I think it's a 91 or 92, but then it's like the last year before they switched to all Volvo components and everything. So this was kind of the predecessor to that setup. But anyways, today we're going to be doing the cabin port hatch here, or port cover. You can see it's got some cracks on it, and it's like an acrylic piece that I don't know if just over time they get stepped on or dry out and end up cracking. But we're going to pull that section out of the frame and replace the that glass there. So here we go. Okay, here we are going down in the cabin. And here's what we got to deal with. So there's just some Phillips screws here, and we'll take those out right there. That will pop out this whole hatch, and this is just the piece here is what we're going to replace. That's like an acrylic or a Lexan piece. So we'll pop those screws out, and then I'll get it out on the bench and we'll have a closer look at it. Okay, so we're back here actually on my desk in the office. So this is the hatch cover. This is the old piece that you can see is cracked. And I just put some Gorilla Tape just to keep the rain out of there temporarily while I was waiting for my new piece to come in. So this is it's 20. Lay that down, you can see it a little better. 20 1/8 inches. Looks like they put a nice mark on there to line up with my seam. Looks like that. So there's the holes for your levers to lock it down. So there's the acrylic sheet. That's what it's made out of. And actually, I found this on eBay. So here's the purchaser, or the company rather, that I purchased it through. Not sponsored by them or anything, but if you're looking on eBay, this was about $110, I think, around that range, which is quite a bit of a good deal, because I mean these are actually $500 or $600 for this piece, so rather expensive. But so I'm gonna start cutting this section out. I got to unscrew these, pull those out, and then we'll cut that sealer and see if we can get it pulled out of here. So disassembling is okay with power tools, but when you go back together, you're gonna want to use hand tools only, because as you can see, it goes into these plastic pieces, and you can easily strip them out if you use any power tools with that. So that's just something to keep in mind. These little sections just basically fall right out, and there's an O-ring seal. That's what is supposed to seal it against the glass so you don't have leaks around these. So I'm not sure. I might see if I got some O-rings. If not, I'll put just some, water sealer or my glue on there. So okay. Now that I'm looking at these a little closer, I'm definitely going to want to use an O-ring on those, because when it's locked in, that actually has to turn in there. So the sealer, you do just break your seal, but with the O-ring it can slide on there. So definitely have to replace those O-rings. Here it's already pretty brittle and fragile, so I'm just kind of ripping it out in pieces, trying to keep this rubber seal, because this is actually kind of goes around there, and will sit right in there. So try to keep this good if you can. If not, you might have to order a replacement one. See if you can locate one of those. Kind of just gently peeling this back. You can also take a razor blade and kind of just walk the blade as tightly as you can next to the piece of acrylic. And don't go too deep, otherwise you'll cut all the way through the back side of that seal, and you definitely don't want to do that. So be careful with this step. So there you have it. It's completely out. We're just going to clean this up, and then we'll try popping in our new glass. Okay, I'm just going to use a little bit of brake parts cleaner to go over this seal. That's just going to pull any oils or anything that's stuck in there, so that got a nice clean surface that the new piece of acrylic will stick onto. And then once we get it all clean and everything's dried and sealed good, then you can go back over it with like a rubber care product, silicone spray or something that will condition and keep that rubber nice so it seals and doesn't dry out on you. So here is the seam in the frame right there. You can see that. There's a mark that they put on there for me, so that way my hatch is all evenly distributed. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to make another little mark right there. Well, actually they did it for me, so I can take this protective coating off and put this on. Okay, so I'm going to use some 3M 5200 marine sealant, and I'm just going to do a bead, real tiny bead, all the way around the interior of that, because the seal is not perfect. You know, if you want it, you could replace this, put a brand new seal in it, and but this one's really not in bad shape, so I'm just going to do a whole little bead around there and fill in any little imperfections, and this will, you know, hold it in tight and seal it from water, so it's permanent and watertight there. This stuff takes about 7 days to fully cure, so if you need to use the boat right away, they do make another product. Actually, it's a Loctite marine sealant. That's a little quicker, I believe. This is good for like through hole ports and a bunch of other stuff too. So. Okay, I got my little bead of sealer in there, and now I'm going to line up this frame mark with this mark right there. So we'll try to pop that in real fast. Just trying to get it as perfect as you can, and kind of push in, and as you push down, and that little lip will kind of pop down over it. And if you have any little spots that the seal is torn, you can put a little extra in there and fill that void up and kind of smooth it out if you want. Okay, so I pulled the old O-rings out of here and just have an O-ring kit, so I found. Okay, with the new O-rings popped in there, we're going to put these back in. Alright, I got the hatch here. We're back at the boat. Got the hatch sitting up there. Climb down here back in the cabin. And here we can attach our hardware back up. And we're going to have this locked down, and that will kind of help while this sealer is drying. It'll keep everything tight, and so you get a good watertight positive seal. Okay, so we got her all back in and installed. While this adhesive epoxy, the 5200 3M is setting up here, I left the hinges a little loose so that when you kind of draw this down and lock it in, it's got a little room to move and it will kind of self-center itself. You can see it's a nice piece, so let's light through. Just like the factory one, but maybe even a little bit better, a little thicker. Okay, we're up here.
on the up here on the top deck. You can see got the glass installed, and I went a little bit overboard, I think, with the 5200, but it will, once it kind of dries, it will kind of self-level, so it won't look like so rigid. Just, and then you can go back and trim it too with a razor if you nice clean line once it's all set and dry, and that way you're not smearing it and everything. So that's it. We got a new hatch in, and hope you liked the episode. We'll catch you guys later.